Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, News Stories Every Day. Adam Johnson leaned on the railing of his small front porch in Vermont, surveying the forested hills that had once been his idea of peace. He couldn't remember the last time he'd enjoyed this view without worrying about his next paycheck. 5 years ago, he and his wife, Claire, took a huge risk by launching their own event planning company. Each loan they took out felt like a noose tightening around them, but somehow, through determination and long hours, they managed to turn a profit. Claire, one night, exhausted, "If we can pay off half these loans by next year, maybe we can buy a proper house near the lake. Somewhere our son Ryan can run around without neighbors complaining." Adam nodded, too tired to speak. They'd been up until 2 o'clock a.m. finalizing an event proposal for an upscale wedding in Boston. He hardly remembered the last time he spent an afternoon fishing, something he loved before the business consumed his life. Their hard work paid off. Within 2 years, they'd cleared enough debt to buy a decent house on the outskirts of Montpelier. Over time, they upgraded to good cars, dined at trendy places, and by outward appearances lived the American dream. Claire, ever the ambitious one, began exploring spiritual practices to cope with post-pandemic stress. She tried yoga, meditation, and eventually discovered tantric journeys. She urged Adam to join her, but he found more peace in the quiet of nature, fishing, hunting, the smell of pine trees, while she wanted mantras, group chanting, and metaphysical workshops. Claire, fondly rolling her eyes, "You and your fishing trips. Meanwhile, I'm learning to harness my inner goddess." Adam, with a grin, "If that inner goddess starts paying off the mortgage, I'm all for it. But count me out of chanting." They began vacationing separately. She'd go on weekend yoga camps or spiritual seminars in New Hampshire, while Adam took Brian camping or accompanied his father on hunting trips. That's when Adam recalled in hindsight, the rift truly opened. One summer, Claire announced she wanted to attend a 2-week tantric retreat in California. Adam, raising eyebrows, 2 weeks? That's pretty long. Couldn't you do a week instead? "We have events and finances to manage." Claire, "Adam, this is important for me. Handle business from here. I'll keep in touch. Please let me do this." Against his better judgment, Adam gave in. She left with her friend Marissa, who Adam trusted, hoping that if something strange happened, at least Marissa would watch out for Claire. Except during those 2 weeks, he rarely heard from Claire, just a couple of vague texts. Marissa eventually messaged Adam, offering to meet him once they returned. The request seemed odd, but he didn't question it at the time. Claire came back from the retreat with bright ideas for their business, spouting new marketing strategies and fresh design concepts. She was oddly enthusiastic, and for a moment, Adam hoped this was just the positivity she needed to reignite their marriage. But Marissa called him the next day, insisting on meeting at a local cafe. Adam went, curious and a bit uneasy. He found Marissa at a back table, fiddling with her phone. Marissa up quietly, "I need to tell you something, Adam, about Claire." Adam felt a chill. "She okay?" Marissa lowered her eyes. "During that retreat, there was a tantric workshop. Claire had. She had a fling with someone. A romance, I guess you could call it." Adam's stomach dropped. "Don't joke. She's married. We have a son. A business." "Marissa, I'm not joking, Adam. I saw it. She met a man there. A spiritual instructor or something. She's been in touch with him for a while. Actually, they're still meeting. I'm sorry." The room spun. Adam struggled to keep his voice calm. "Why are you telling me this?" Marissa shifted uncomfortably. "I can't keep covering for her. Also, She hesitated, perhaps harboring feelings for Adam or wanting some moral payoff. He couldn't be sure. "Anyway, I thought you deserved to know." She showed him a short video on her phone. Claire, in a half-lit corner, kissing a bearded stranger, the embrace lingering, intimate. Adam's heart pounded, rage clashing with heartbreak. "Marissa, I don't want you to confront me about telling you. Just figure out your next step. I can get you his contact if you want." Adam stood abruptly, head spinning. "I need..." The next morning, hungover and reeling, Adam tried to piece together a plan. His first impulse was to ruin Claire, expose her to the world, sabotage the man she was seeing. Anger raged, thoughts swirling. But he worried about their child, Ryan, and the business they had poured everything into. A public scandal would be devastating for their event planning brand and for Ryan's stability. Adam, roaming in frustration. "Damn it. If she'd just done this quietly, I could walk away. But the business, we're both owners, there's so much at stake. Eventually, he decided to confront Claire privately. If she ended the affair, maybe they wouldn't need a messy divorce. Did he still love her? He wasn't sure. Possibly, he just didn't want to lose everything they built. He installed a small hidden camera in a cafe Claire frequented, snapping pictures from outside, verifying the affair. Watching them meet, her eyes lighting up at the arrival of the bearded instructor, calling him Raphael, was a stab in Adam's chest, but the pictures confirmed what he needed to see. 5. The confrontation. One evening, as Ryan stayed with Adam's parents, Claire arrived home. Adam sat in the living room, photos spread on the coffee table. Claire, pausing at the threshold. Adam, what's all this? He stood, arms crossed, eyes cold. Evidence of you with Raphael. Don't bother lying. I've got dates, times, pictures. She blanched. Where? How did you? Adam, voice tight. Marissa told me about the retreat. I found enough proof on my own. Don't deny it. Claire's shoulders sagged, then a flicker of defiance lit her eyes. I won't. It happened, but you have to understand I was lonely, bored in our marriage. You're always working or fishing. I needed something spiritual, emotional. Adam felt his jaw clench. I see. So you sleep with a spiritual guide. For 2 years, under our roof in my bed. She shut her eyes. I'm sorry, Adam, truly. I never meant to hurt you or threaten our family, but I needed more. Adam, cutting her off. Enough. You want to fix this? Then you end it now. If you do that, we avoid divorce, keep the business stable. We can manage something. A flicker of surprise crossed her face. You'd forgive me. Adam, I'm not sure if it's forgiveness, but our business, our child, this can't all collapse because you chased him fling, you cut him off, or I walk. Her lips trembled. Then she nodded, not even trying to protest. Yes, I will. Tonight, I promise I'll call in and end it, if that's what it takes. In that moment, Adam realized how little affection he felt. He mostly saw her as a business partner, the mother of his child. The spark of love had died a long time ago, overshadowed by resentment and daily stress, yet he'd do anything to keep their brand intact and spare Ryan. 5 years passed since that confrontation. On the surface, Adam and Claire maintained their successful event planning company, A&C Events. Their synergy in business impressed clients. Everyone envied their power couple dynamic. But behind closed doors, there was no romance, no genuine closeness, just polite distance. Ryan grew into a bright, observant kid, occasionally sensing the tension at home. Adam still took him fishing up in Maine or hunting in the Vermont woods, forging a real father-son bond. Claire, for her part, sank deeper into yoga retreats and spiritual seminars, albeit with less suspicious behavior. The affair with Raphael ended presumably, as she promised. Adam, reflecting one evening, we're business partners, co-parents, that's it. Maybe it's enough to keep life stable for Ryan. But he caught glimpses of regret in Claire's eyes, or maybe bitterness that she had to give up a man she claimed provided emotional depth. Adam never brought up Raphael again. He never spied on her again, trusting his ultimatum was sufficient. Perhaps that was naive, but he no longer cared to investigate. The point was they functioned as a family, at least superficially. Now they lived in a bigger house in the same Connecticut region, thanks to A&C Events being highly in demand, yet they slept in separate bedrooms. They told Ryan it was about different sleep schedules. No more illusions of a loving couple. They had a quiet arrangement. Keep the business successful. Keep the child happy. Don't cross lines. Standing by the large window in his home office, Adam stared at the manicured garden below. He thought about how 5 years earlier he'd nearly unleashed a storm of vengeance, but the cost to his child, to their shared life, had stopped him. Instead, he forced Claire to choose the marriage she had, and ironically, it had saved the business but extinguished the last flicker of authentic love. When old friends asked if they were still going strong, Adam would smile stiffly. Yes, we're doing great. Inside, he felt emptiness. Claire must have felt it too, but she never complained. Perhaps she too was content with the success and stability, even if it lacked genuine intimacy. Sometimes he recalled that day in the bedroom, the scattered candles, that bottle of lubricant not theirs, the wallet on the floor. A bitter memory that refused to fade, but he swallowed it down day after day, month after month, year after year. One Saturday, while Ryan was at a friend's house, Adam sipped coffee in the silent kitchen. Claire walked in wearing new yoga attire, her posture composed, hair neatly braided. They regarded each other politely. Claire, softly, I'm heading to a weekend seminar upstate. The schedule's on the calendar, but I'll be back Monday. You can handle the wedding expo on Sunday, right? Adam nodded. Of course. A beat of silence. Okay, thanks, she said, then turned to leave. Adam, voice unsteady, Claire, do you ever think about how we got here? She paused in the doorway, not looking back. Sometimes. Then she slipped away, grabbing her keys, shutting the door quietly behind her. That single word told Adam all he needed to know. They lived in a marriage shaped by an affair, patched up for pragmatic reasons, a dull coexistence. He retreated to the living room, dropping onto the sofa. Despite the business thriving, despite Ryan's well-being, the hollowness remained. He recalled his younger self, full of passion, back when fishing with Dad, dreaming of a big, happy family with a wife he adored. Now, ironically, he had wealth, but no warmth. Still, Adam had made his choice to preserve the facade, to avoid a messy divorce that might have destroyed their joint enterprise. Did he regret it? Sometimes, yet he felt numb. A bleak acceptance. This was their reality. He poured whiskey into a glass, swirling the amber liquid. 5 years after discovering Claire's betrayal, they functioned like business partners, as he often thought, not lovers. She wanted to keep the charade for appearances, for Ryan for money. He wanted stability and a future for their child. Adam murmuring to himself, I guess this is what we are now, and maybe that's enough. Across the hallway, the door to Claire's empty bedroom stood open. He imagined it as he found it that day, disheveled sheets, hidden evidence of infidelity. He closed his eyes, exhaling slowly, letting old rage subside. He'd chosen not to blow it all up, to salvage the business and keep a two-parent household for Ryan. It was a quiet betrayal, forgiven only in the sense of refusing to break the status quo. He had never truly forgiven Claire in his heart, nor learned to love her again. But life went on. 5 years after that confrontation, the business soared. Ryan grew older, and Adam and Claire existed under one roof, drifting like strangers. Sometimes Adam wondered if what might have been would haunt him forever. Yet he never confronted her again about any new suspicions, and she never brought another scandal to his door. On certain nights, alone with his thoughts, Adam recognized a deep sadness, but the next morning he'd shrug it off, burying himself in event-planning tasks. Routines overshadowed regrets, and a stable, if loveless, life persisted. They never visited the Maldives or embarked on a romantic trip to fix their marriage. Instead, they traveled separately. He to fishing lodges in Canada, she to yoga festivals in Florida. Family vacations were short, functional trips with Ryan. Friends, neighbors, and clients who saw them might describe them as a successful couple, the real estate and events duo who overcame early struggles. Only a select few, like Marissa, knew the truth, that behind their professional smiles lay a quiet a compromise forged from an affair, hidden heartbreak, and a decision to keep a broken marriage intact for the sake of business and a child. As Adam gazed through the large windows of their fancy living room, he took one final sip of his whiskey and forced a small, empty smile. This was the life he had, and he accepted it. Perhaps it wasn't the fairy tale he'd once envisioned, but it was functional. And for now, that would have to be enough.